In 2018, Panos Cosmatos created a one-of-a-kind horror experience. On one hand, Mandy is a breathtaking work of art. And on the other hand, try explaining the plot to somebody without sounding clinically insane. Break it down for us, Nick.
Hippie types, whole bunch of them. They were bikers and gnarly psychos, and they lit her on fire!
What's up, freaks? Welcome to The Laughing Dead, your dedicated alkalite of terror, presenting yet another holy relic from the cult horror archives. I'm your host, Ethan, and tonight we're dissecting a strange and beautiful descent into madness. Released in 2018, Mandy was the passion project of director Panos Cosmatos, who spent nearly 8 years trying to get the film financed. Shot in just 4 weeks on a modest $6 million budget, the finished film feels more haunting and immersive than productions 10 times its size. After a tiny theatrical release, Mandy slowly found its audience through streaming and word of mouth. And honestly, that's probably the only way the movie ever could have succeeded. See, Mandy doesn't play by normal horror rules. It kind of requires a bit of patience. And to put it bluntly, it doesn't explain shit. And while most people remember Nicolas Cage forging a battle axe and descending into absolute madness, that's really just the payoff. Long before the revenge begins, the film lays the foundation for a bizarre mythology hiding beneath the surface. And at the end, I'll give you the official Laughing Dead interpretation. So whether you're a master cinephile here to set my shit straight, or you just click because the thumbnail looked cool, kick back and get comfy because we're jumping right in. Mandy follows the small town lives of Red Miller and Mandy Bloom, a loving couple living out domestic bliss in their remote cabin in the Shadow Mountains. The year is 1983, but that hardly matters to Mandy and Red. They exist in a little bubble of Mandy's creation. See, Red works for a logging company and spends most of his days out in the cold, bleak wilderness, laboring faithfully to provide him and his lady with a place to rest. He returns home each night, eager to rejoin Mandy in her vibrance. This movie does an amazing job of contrasting color grades to communicate unspoken detail. In this case, I think it's trying to say that Red quite literally lives for Mandy. Without her, his world is dull and lifeless. But in her presence, he's able to merge with her aura and see the world with just a touch of her perception. This first part of the film, I'll admit, it's kind of slow, but it serves a valuable purpose. So wake your ass up, brew some coffee or something, because this is the part of the movie that shows not only the level of devotion in their relationship, but it establishes Mandy as a pure and innocent soul. And it goes beyond that even. She's almost divine in her purity, like a wood nymph, or maybe the sacred feminine. And it's this very radiance that catches the attention of Jeremiah Sands and the Children of the New Dawn. This is where Mandy really starts getting interesting, when we're introduced to the small town's local cult. The Children of the New Dawn are nearly beat for beat a Manson family archetype. And while comparatively unimpressive, Jeremiah Sands is an intense, ego-driven little madman, a failed musician who soured on the Hollywood grind and now injects his twisted, apocalyptic worldview into the minds of his acid-brain followers.
Sounds familiar.
But instead of wanting to start the race war, Jeremiah, well, he just wants Mandy. And he commits to wallowing around and whining like a little bitch until he gets his way. Brother Swan is set to the task of acquiring the girl, and he's given the green light to use the horn of Abraxas. Yeah, it's that rock, but bear with me, it's not just any rock. When Brother Swan sounds the horn, it puts out a signal like some kind of homing beacon. The horn rings out into the wilderness, and what answers is straight out of a nightmare. Tortured souls on iron steeds. These boys are more than your average biker club. This is the Black Skulls! No shit, the Black Souls are some of the sickest, gnarliest fiends ever put to the silver screen. Once upon a time, they were just a normal biker club, just tipping back some suds, recruiting their old ladies from the local trailer parks or whatever.
Shit, I'd make your pussy throb right now.
You know, biker stuff. Well, one of their hustles was running that hippie juice for our little buddy Jeremiah. So when he gave them a special batch for their private consumption, they were probably stoked. Like, hey, let's party, right?
Wrong.
That special batch they so willingly took was an evil and tainted concoction of God knows what. It twisted the club into S&M Cenobites, bound to Jeremiah's whims, and addicted to pain. Brother Swan gives them their orders, pays them in psychedelic slime. A final demand to seal the arrangement. Meanwhile, Mandy and Red are having a nice quiet night, enjoying some dinner and some classic Americana. And that's actually 1982 schlockfest called Night Beast. A subtle nod by Cosmatos to include a trashy, violent B-movie playing in the background, right before a cosmic nightmare invades their reality. Anyways, when the vile psychonauts assemble at the edge of the property, Mandy and Red are none the wiser. They go to bed completely ignorant to the horrors that will visit them this night. The cultists enter the house with ease. Perhaps Red left the door unlocked after his post-dinner smoke, but he Either way, they snatch up the couple and trap them in their world of chaos. Red is bound with barbed wire to the fence outside, and Jeremiah tries his manipulation tactics to woo Mandy over. He explains how he saw her, how she called to him. He plays his spacey bullshit music, praising his own supposed greatness, and tells Mandy how God told him he rocks. He can do no wrong. The rambling tirade comes to a close with Jeremiah opening his robe, offering himself to Mandy. He's just hanging it out there, and Mandy's like,
You made this song? Yeah.
and laughs in his face. Jeremiah is straight up destroyed. His entire identity is just crushed. He has a quick powwow with God, aka himself, and decides that Mandy must be punished. First he comes out to Red, still tied up in the yard, but instead of simply killing him, his supervillain urges win out and he goes on another trippy religious rant, this time capping it off with an abdominal stab right out of the Gospel of John. And if you think Red got it bad, Mandy's fate's gonna break you. The scumbag cultists all smile and laugh as Mandy is burned alive right there in the yard, their leering faces bathed in the sinister light of the flames. When the deed is done, the children of the New Dawn just pack it up and bail, leaving one hell of a loose end. Racked with grief and shell-shocked by the whole experience, Red stumbles into the house, his mind numb and defeated. He nearly gives up, but when he closes his eyes, it's not the cold embrace of death he feels, but instead a horrific vision of Mandy, rotten and dead. This snaps him back to reality, and Red knows what he must do. When the bloodlust rises in a man who's been so grievously wronged, the answer is never the police, it's always the vodka. Red slams that shit down his throat as fast as his body will allow, letting the fire in his belly fuel his rage. This is probably the most famous scene from the entire film, due largely to Nick Cage's fantastically unhinged performance. And don't get me wrong, Nick is always a presence in every movie he's in.
Hail Satan.
But this scene is so visceral, so gut-wrenching, I'd be hard-pressed to imagine a man acting any less broken. But this is just a warm-up. This is Red Miller getting his shit together, putting on that game face. By sunrise, he's ready. He stops by an old friend's house to pick up some useful items that he's been hanging on to for him. And this scene is interesting. There's zero context about this man or their relationship, but the casual demeanor surrounding hunting.
I'm going hunting.
If you're gonna go hunting, I got some other shit you might need.
Suggests to me that once upon a time, Red was a bad man. After a quick axe forging montage, Red is fully prepared to begin the hunt. That death metal Mandy title card signifies the beginning of the end. From here, it's pure out destruction, baby. Starting with the Black Skulls. One by one, he dispatches the leather-clad monsters, proving them to be nothing but twisted men. Men that bleed. Men that die. Red tears through him like tissue paper, taking damage throughout the battle, but never breaking weak. He even tries a little taste off that slime jar, melting his face off and further detaching him from reality. Next up is the Chemist, played by the living legend Richard Brake. And this scene is no bloody battle, quite the contrary. The Chemist comes off like some kind of kind-hearted trip guide. They communicate on another plane, and the Chemist intrinsically knows several things. First, the children have committed an unspeakable wrong. And second,
You exuded cosmic darkness.
Red cannot be stopped, so he doesn't even try. He tells Red where the children of the New Dawn can be found, and is even moved into freeing his attack tiger Lily. So that's nice. And so begins the final slaughter. Red lays in wait outside the cult's compound, and without their evil goons, the cultists are sitting ducks. Swan finally gets his mouth shut, and the others fall just as easily. This section, pure catharsis. Everything from the epic chainsaw duel to the creepy old lady losing her head is precisely what we signed up for. Finally, we're down to just Jeremiah. Slimy, pathetic Jeremiah. While all his followers and soldiers died fighting and talking shit,
She burned brightly, Mandy.
Jeremiah dies like the coward he truly is.
I'll blow you, man. I'll suck your fucking dick.
Some cult leader, Red caps off the scene with this iconic line that will live forever in horror history.
I'm your god now.
And crushes Jeremiah's skull with his bare hands. In the closing scene, Red lights the church ablaze, cause fair is fair, right? And hops into a car. Sitting in the front seat, Red is barely breathing, but beside him in the car, a vision of Mandy. And as he drives off into the fantasy landscape from his dreams, we're left with many, many questions. Final thoughts. Mandy is unlike any film I've ever seen. Many people watch it and just take it in on the surface level like it's just this trippy revenge flick. And that's fine. It's great at that. But my interpretation? I don't think Mandy is necessarily about revenge at all.
You sure about that?
I think it's more about restoring something sacred that was violated. A universal correction, if you will. Throughout the film, Mandy is framed as something almost otherworldly. Jeremiah instantly becomes obsessed with possessing her. Red devotes his life to protecting her. They both recognize there's something extraordinary about her, even if they don't understand what it is. And once she's gone, the movie changes. Every bizarre encounter after her death, the black skulls, the chemists, even the surreal dreamscapes feel less like style choices and more like fate pushing Red towards a single purpose. I don't think the chemist helps Red because he's afraid of him. I think he recognizes that whatever's moving through Red can't be stopped. But those animated dream sequences are really what sells me on this interpretation. Every time Red suffers another devastating injury, the film returns to that impossible fantasy world. And I like to think that's Mandy refusing to let him die. Not out of vengeance, but because the balance hasn't yet been restored. By the time Red reaches Jeremiah, he isn't just avenging the woman he loves, he's correcting an offense against the universe. And once that's finished, he finally joins Mandy in that dream world that can just as easily be interpreted as his personal heaven. So that's about it. The movie plays out, in my opinion, like a mythical fairy tale about the balance of good and evil. But the most beautiful thing about it is how it's left open to interpretation. Maybe I'm completely full of shit. Maybe Red dies halfway through the movie and this is hell. Or maybe it's just all the drugs that Red is on skewing his perception. And that's the beauty of Mandy. Panos Cosmatos never gave us the answers. And that's exactly why people will still be talking about this movie for years to come. If you had a good time tonight, seek your revenge on the like button and subscribe to the channel for more cult horror shenanigans. In the meantime, keep them scary flicks rolling, and remember, if you laugh when others scream, you found your home. This has been The Laughing Dead. Thanks for stopping by.